In this video I'm going to walk you through a new feature in Cantabile called balanced sends, which are an alternative way of doing wet-dry mixing. But before we look at that, let's just recap how wet-dry mixing works at the moment. So you can see here I've just got an instrument plugin set up to go through a effect here, and you can hear if I play that, there's that phaser effect on it. And what you have is this wet-dry mix knob, which controls how much of the signal coming into this plugin versus how much of the signal coming out of the plugin gets mixed and sent through these output routes. So if I set this to 100% dry, you'll see that's just the raw sound from the synthesized sound from this plugin, and you can set it anywhere in between to get an adjusted amount of effect on that plugin. So that's the way it works at the moment, and most of the time this works fine. Where it doesn't work so good is if you have multiple synths that you want to put through the one effect but have different wet-dry mixes on each. And what you can do at the moment is you can just set this to 100% wet and then create two routes out of here, one going straight to the speakers and one going to the effect. And then you can adjust the wet-dry mix by sliding these. So this would be, so I've got this set to 0 dB and this set to off. So this would be completely wet signal. And then I can get a completely dry signal just by setting that to 0 dB and this one to down to muted. And that's the dry signal, not the wet. Okay, so just to do that again. So if I set this one back to 0 or muted and this one to 0 dB, you can see it get the wet signal. Okay, so that's another way of doing wet-dry mixing. The problem with this approach is that it's cumbersome to manage these two controls. Okay, so what I've done is I've added a new feature called balanced sends, and what it is you'll see there's an extra knob here called AB send balance. And what it does is it adjusts the amount of signal sent through these routes according to how you group them here. So you can see here I've grouped this to A and this one to B. So what this knob now does is it controls the balance of these two channels. And you can put as many routes as you like down here with all in different groups. And there's also a group which is none, which means this knob has no effect on this route. So you can see now if I set this to B, so we've now got these two signals. I've got this set to 100% A, so you can see here the signal's going only to the A destination, and if I put it to 100% B, you can see it's going to the B. Okay, so in this case B is the dry signal, so that's completely dry. If I put this back the other way, this will be completely wet, and you can have the same thing halfway in between. Okay, so that's balanced sends. They're pretty straightforward, and what they let you do is you could now have a whole bunch of instruments here all going to this one effect, and you can adjust their wet-dry mixes independently. You could also use it for other things, like you could send this to two different effects and then use this to adjust the balance of one effect versus another, for example. These are all integrated with the Cantabile states. So you can see there's a send balance option here, state behavior. Similarly on the routes, the send balance kind group, if you like, can be controlled through states as well. Okay, that's it. Pretty basic, but I think a nice way to manage wet-dry mixing on these synths when you want to go through one effect.